It's so annoying when you're doing everything you're supposed to do. By the book, technically you're doing everything right. Working super hard, you're putting in so much effort, and you're even straining yourself sometimes. It's like, what is going on? Despite all the hard work that you're doing, despite doing everything by the book, doing it exactly how people tell you to do it in order to get ahead, literally nothing changes. And that's what most people suffer through. And I get it because it's super frustrating when nothing seems to change. You're doing everything that you're supposed to do, but nothing is changing. You look around, your life is the same. You're working out, your body has barely changed. Trying so hard to make money and your bank account is still the same, or it just keeps going down, and you're like, what is going on? You really want all these amazing like friends, you want like cool adventures, you want like a fun life, and your life is still bland, it's still lame, it's whack. You see these like people on Instagram, you see them on TikTok, you see them on YouTube. Like one day they're just average, they're like mediocre. Then all of a sudden you see they're bam, millionaires, bam, they're on yachts, bam, they're talking to girls. They're just average body weight, and then all of a sudden, boom, they have a glow up. They look good, they're cut, they're shredded. And you're sitting here thinking, no, that does not work for me. Why is it not working for me? Look, he posted an Instagram here, and then, in the next Instagram, he was already shredded, and he said it took him only 6 months. But when I do it, I'm getting no results. Relax, okay? I want you to keep this in mind. Nothing in this whole world, in this whole universe, is ever stagnant. Everything is always changing. And that's beautiful. And a lot of us will complain that things change all the time. And like, oh, why can't things stay the same? No, everything is always changing. You are always changing constantly. It's actually this need of you being like, why isn't anything changing? I'm doing everything right and it's not changing. That desperation that you have of physically needing to see things change is why nothing is changing for you. That's why you're stuck in this loop of guilt. You do some work, you try something out, see any change, you're like, doesn't work. Doesn't work for me. What's going on? I'm just gonna switch gears. So I was doing this, I'm gonna try out this workout. If I don't see the muscle gain, it doesn't work. That's why you get such mediocre results. You have this desperate energy of needing to see things change. You have no faith. You have no faith. You have no confidence in anything that you are going to do because you physically have to see things change in order for you to believe. Faith is when you believe in things without needing to see any change. You know it's going to change. You don't think it's going to change, or you don't have to see it change before you realize that there is going to be change. You know it's going to change. You know that this is going to happen. You know that is going to happen. And you have the faith that it's going to happen. You already know. You just know. If you're new here, my name is Israel. Friends call me Lil Gon, and all I do is teach you ways to improve your life in ways that most people don't talk about. People talk about all these basic things, or sometimes they try to overcomplicate simple stuff instead of just talking like a normal human being. They'll try to sound so professional, and then at the end of the day, you're like, okay, cool, but what the fuck does that mean? So I'm just gonna teach it to you in a very simple way, so that way you can actually put it into practical use and start bettering your life. It is important to put in the action. It is important to do the things. Right? But so many people nowadays, especially in the self-improvement niche, are so focused because you've been brainwashed. You've been told that it's always work, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. Especially if you're here in America, it's always that. You're always on the go. You're always straining. Everything is hard. Like if you're not working 2 jobs and have 2 side hustles, you're basically a piece of shit in most people's eyes, which you're not. Trying your best, and I applaud you for that. But at the end of the day, we still want to get the results. So it is important to try your very best. It is important to work hard, but I want you to notice that you are stuck in a cycle. Basically what happens to you is you try something, you set a goal, like I want to lose weight. I want to get to 10% body fat. I want to get a fit body. Then you try it and you see all these people on here that talk about how easy it is, how smooth it is, all this, right? So you start working at it. Then all of a sudden you don't see the results because in order to get results, you have to be consistent and you have to believe in yourself that you can do it. But you are expecting to see change. You have to see change because the change is what keeps you going. Because of your inability to let go of that desire to see some change or some physical results in order for you to keep going, that's literally why you fuck up. That's why you don't see any change. That's why you don't see the results. You're trying something and then you don't see the change, so you stop doing it because you're like, nah, that doesn't work. Like this guy, I found something better. This works actually. Let's give it a shot. And then you try there, and you try there, and you're not seeing any physical change. But in reality, you are changing. You're always changing. Nothing is ever stagnant. The thing is, you don't give yourself enough time to actually get a solid change, because things take time sometimes and things can be instant, right? There are cases and scenarios where it's such a dramatic change and such great results. The thing is, you don't want to base it off of that, because you're thinking about maybe the top 5%, top 1% results, and you're comparing yourself to that. Not to mean that you're not able to do that or that you're not capable of doing it, but you want to actually focus on you. Stop focusing on everything else. Stop focusing on everyone else and concentrate your energy on yourself. Let me tell you why you think that change is instant, why you expect to see all these results, right? There's two main reasons, at least in the modern age. Number one, it's Hollywood. Most of us grew up seeing Hollywood movies, right? We saw the movies, we would see where the person was just like us, just an average person. And then, he really locked in. He had a moment where he's like, I gotta change. He locked in. Now, the thing is, in most movies, they only have about an hour or 2 hours to work with you. The time where their character development goes is maybe 2 minutes? Obviously, you're sitting here, you see them do push-ups, sit-ups, they start studying, and then all of a sudden they're millionaire, they're shredded, and they fucking won a boxing match. But that was actually a long time. But you're so used to seeing that you're like, oh, okay, change should be instant. Like one day, I've had enough. I lock in, and then the next day, bam, I'm a millionaire. That is not the way things work, right? That is not the way things work. And another thing that's reinforcing this nonsense, is all these social media people that literally feed off your guilt, off your insecurity. They feed off of this stuff. This is how they make money. This is how they get views, because you're based off emotions, right? People react based off how they feel. So if they feel guilty and then they're getting this dopamine hit that if they do this and then they lock in, they guilt shame you. They'll be like, what the fuck are you doing if you're not a millionaire at 25? Understand that it's guilt. The emotion of guilt is getting you trapped in this loop where you're constantly self-sabotaging. But now that you've become aware that it's guilt, you can bypass it now. You don't have to stay in this loop. That's a good thing. So all these social media people will show you videos of them before and after. And some of them will lie about the time too. They'll say like, oh, it only took me 6 months to do this. Oh, it only took me a year to do this. What are you doing? You just don't want it bad enough. The truth is, most change, right? Most true change tends to be subtle. People think change is loud and instant and it's so dramatic. Most real change tends to be subtle. This is. Have you ever noticed that when, let's say you do something, right? Like let's say that you start training, or you say you start boxing, or let's just say that you just want to get better at reading. At first, when you start practicing something, you don't really see a huge change. But then as the months go by and as the years go by, you're like, holy crap, there is a huge difference. Even with your life, sit here and think about your life and think about it from a year ago or 2 years ago. You probably didn't think it changed that much, but you probably talked to different people, you listen to different music, your style has kind of changed, and now you're gonna sit here and be like, oh shit, like things really do change. But it's a lot more subtle. And the reason, you see, you don't realize all these little changes because you focus on certain things. So your mind is focused on the big stuff. So you're not seeing the small stuff because the small stuff doesn't matter to you. Only the big stuff does. But in the mind, there's no difference. Big or small, it is all the same. The reason that you do sometimes see people who change instantly, and there's actually like a huge change because you have seen those night and day differences. What tends to happen with those kind of scenarios is that the person, for the most part, I mean, there's obviously exceptions, but for the most part, the person gets so traumatized by an event, whether it be good or bad, like they just get like such a strong emotional pull that you do see an overnight difference. It's strong enough to the point where they change, or they had, even if it's positive, like let's say it's a really positive change, they had such a negative experience. Maybe they were somewhere really bad in life to the point where it was so strong and powerful where they're like, I am never going to be in that position again. And then they make that overnight change. So if you're able to tap into that somehow, as in a positive way, instead of being, traumatized, obviously, then do that. I haven't found a method personally that works like that yet. If you do, please comment down below because that'd be useful. You can do that same kind of thing. It just takes a little bit longer by focusing on your small wins because you have so many small wins in your life. But the thing is, you can look back at those small wins and focus on that instead of, oh, why isn't anything changing? Look back at what is changing and what is going well for you. Because there's so much stuff that is going well for you. You see it as Big goals, small goals. This is insignificant, this is big. And in reality, it is all the same. Your mind doesn't know the difference between the big and small things. It just is for it. You just put importance on things. Let me give you a brief example. Let's say you couldn't breathe, right? Let's say you had lung cancer and your lungs were struggling to breathe. You would see breathing as such a precious thing. So you actually being able to have a day where you're breathing correctly would be a huge win. But you right now, because you probably have healthy lungs, when you breathe, you see it as like a small accomplishment. You're like, whatever, I'm just breathing. It's the same thing. Your mind just puts importance on what's big and what's small. When you actually start to focus all the energy on your small wins, no matter how small they may be, you did that. You did that, right? Let's say that we want to start eating healthy. And then one scenario, instead of grabbing Doritos, you just grabbed yourself a fruit. That is an example of a small win. You see it as a small win, but it's all the same. Look back to that and be like, no, I've done this before. I can tap into that again. See yourself, I used to be someone that would grab Cheeto Puffs and was unhealthy. But look, now I'm actually grabbing fruits. Like, what the heck? That is an example. I did that. I can tap into that same energy for being healthier because I've done that before. And this is a super simple example. But the thing is, you can use that with so many scenarios in your life. And as the more you focus your attention instead of, why isn't anything changing? Why does my life suck? What is going on? What was wrong? You're going to self-sabotage yourself by thinking that way. You're going to think that nothing is changing, so nothing will change because you will literally stop yourself from seeing the change. If you would focus on your wins and every time that you have those negative thoughts, be like, okay, let me shift my focus back on what I've done. Look, this is awesome. Because you're still going to be putting in the action, right? This isn't going to just happen magically. Like all of a sudden, you're going to see huge results, but you didn't do anything. What you're going to do is you're going to stop the self-sabotage and that guilt that you're lingering in of, why isn't anything working? Why? My life sucks. Like nothing is changing. It still sucks. No, look at your wins. Those wins, by focusing on those wins, you are going to propel yourself and actually get the momentum you need to go where you have to go. And once you stop worrying about why isn't changing and having to physically always see the change, then you're going to arrive at your destination. But you have to already be there. You have to think that I'm going to be there. I'm going to be at $10,000 a month. I am going to have this. I am going to have that. I'm going to be healthy. Like I am there. I don't need to worry about when am I going to see it. I'm not going to have to worry about when is it happening? Why isn't it happening? Worry about what you can control. Analyze things, obviously be smart about it. It's not just going to happen, like it's not going to fall on your lap. But whenever you do see yourself saying nothing is changing, bam, look back at your small wins. It is changing. You're always changing. You just want instant results, but you are always changing. Change tends to be subtle. It is not instantaneous always. There are scenarios where you do get lucky. You do get the big dubs, and that's awesome. That is great. It is always good to see those dubs, but you're not just gonna, bam, magically land on a jackpot every time. So try this out. Yourself, why is it not changing? Because I get it. It sucks not seeing things change. It does suck. I mean, anyone that says it doesn't, it does suck. When you work hard and when you're doing all this stuff, it's so easy to be let down because you're like, dang, I did all this and I'm not seeing anything. But that's not gonna benefit you. It's not gonna benefit me. So you might as well try this because this will benefit you and it's gonna launch you to where you need to be at.